Topic 4.6, solving multiplication and division equations. Alrighty then, just a couple things before we get to the multiplication and division. Remember the analogy to the balance beam. Okay? Each side is equal. So if we add something over here to get rid of something on that side, we got to do the same thing over here. If we're going to subtract over here, we got to subtract over here. So today, we're going to do multiplication over here and here, or division here and here. So when you do the opposite operation, like for example, the addition, you want to do the opposite of that. That would be the subtraction, correct? That is called the inverse operation. Okay, so whenever you hear me talking about that in class using the inverse operation, we're talking about the opposite operation. So the inverse operation of multiplication, to get rid of multiplication, will be division, and vice versa. Alright, so let's go ahead and try out an example with multiplication. Give you this scenario here. Let's say that Shay has some books, okay, and he has 3 shelves. And Shay is able to put 9 books on each shelf. So how many books are there in all? Now, before you go and do it using math sense, let's create an equation. So Shay has some books. We don't know how many books he has. So we're going to say that is X. And there are 3 shelves. So he's going to take all those books and divide it up amongst those 3 shelves, right? So take the total number of books and we're going to divide it by 3. And that came up to be 9 books per shelf. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and solve for X. Okay, again, we've got our equation here, equal on both sides. So we want to get all the variables on one side and the numbers on the other. So X divided by 3. How are we going to get rid of that divided by 3? Using the inverse operation of multiplication. So we're going to say X divided by 3 times 3 equals 9 times 3. Again, did that here. We're going to have to do that over here. So if you take a number and divide it by 3 and multiply it by 3, that basically just brings it back to what it was to begin with, right? So those can cancel out. So we're left with X equals 9 times 3. And X would be 27. What's nice about this too is you can easily check this. You just plug 27 in right up here for X. 27 divided by 3 equals 9. And you guys are doing okay with writing the problems out with different formatting. Let's just kind of introduce something else today. Let's go back to that equation. X divided by 3 equals 9. Okay, so we have X divided by 3 equals 9. Let's get rid of using that division symbol here. So we're going to start writing something like that, like this equals 9. So that's X divided by 3. You can kind of see it there. Doesn't that also kind of remind you of the division symbol? This divided by this. So that's going to be the format that we're going to start using in our equations. To finish this problem then, we're going to have to get rid of this minus 3. So to do that we have to do times 3. So that's going to look like this. X divided by 3 times 3 equals 9 times 3. So you got to pay attention to this. So when you're looking at this, X divided by 3 times 3, well, the times 3 divided by 3, those are going to cancel out. So you'd be left with X equals 9 times 3, which is 27. Let's take another example. Look at this equation. 8 equals, we'll flip it around a little bit, equals k divided by 30. So now we have the numbers over here on the left-hand side. See it? Point to the 8. And we're going to leave the k over on the right-hand side. So how do we get rid of that divided 30? We're going to do 8 times 30 is equal to k divided by 30 times 30. So those will cancel out and we'll be just left with the variable of k. And then 8 times 30 would be 240. I really want to make sure that you've got these down. So you have to balance out the equation. Let's try this one. 10x equals 30. Alright, so between you and me, we know that's 3, right? But let's just work it through as an equation. So 10x equals 30. We want the x by itself. So we have 10x. That's the same as saying what? 10x's, right? Or 10 times x equals 30. So to get rid of that 10x, we have to divide by 10. So 10 times x divided by 10. So that will look like this. 10x divided by 10 is going to be 30 divided by 10. So here we have multiplying by 10 over here. We can get rid of that because it cancels out with that dividing by 10. And then we're just left with the x. But look, then we get 30 divided by 10. That's going to get us that 3. Again, it's really easy when you look at it to do it in your head, but we've got to get this practice down to get this foundation. Let's do another one of these. Let's try 4a equals 20. Alright, so we know that 4 times what equals 20? 5. Alright, let's just see how this works out here. So to get rid of the 4 times the a, or a 4 times, we're going to divide by 4, right? So we'll take that and divide it by 4. We'll divide this by 4. So these two cancel out when you multiply and divide by the same number. Those are called what kind of operations? Inverse operations. You're left just with a equals 20 divided by 4. That's going to get you that 5. Alright, let's get one to get you started for your problems over to the right here. Let's say m divided by 7 equals 13. Alright, so I want you to explain to me how you would solve this. Not only how you would solve it, but why you're doing the steps that you are. Okay, so solve this one and the other one's over there, and I'll see you in the morning.